Welcome to Six Figs. I'm Kyle, and today we're going to be talking about some conflict of interest with the judge overseeing Dfinity's case about the New York Times and Arkham Intelligence. Because guess what? There is some huge connections between this judge and FTX. And you guys all know that FTX was primarily responsible for the downfall of the ICP token at launch because FTX manipulated ICP's launch 4 days even before the thing even launched. Check out my video at the end screen if you want to learn more about that. But here, the New York Times, and this is why this is a hit job. Why would you have two different types of articles launch on the New York Times the same day? The same day, June 28th, 2021. That's just fishy to me right out of the gates. But what's even more fishy to me is that we know FTX, New York Times, Arkham Intelligence were all tight in bed with each other. We know this because Arkham Intelligence was down in the Bahamas meeting with Sam Bankman-Fried the day before FTX collapsed. You can't make this stuff up. The same judge that's overseeing the FTX case, folks, is also the same judge that dismissed Dfinity's case against Arkham Intelligence and the New York Times. Whether or not there is some sort of conflict of interest here, or I don't know. I don't like it though. I wish that it was some other judge that was overseeing this case because to me, when I start to see this type of thing where now we've got this judge overseeing Sam Bankman's trial and FTX, like folks, I get all weirded out. I'm thinking, okay, we'll know where this judge sits when we see Sam Bankman get his sentencing, right? So I thought this was very interesting in how this is all kind of unfolding. And really, when it came down to it, there was a lot of defamatory material that was spun out by Arkham Intelligence and basically just handed on a plate to the New York Times and then disseminated in a very damaging way. We know, and I've been talking about this for a long time, there's a lot of players in this game that want Dfinity and the internet computer to fail, and they're willing to do whatever they can to make that happen. But on a positive note here, Dfinity dropped an absolute banger, and I noticed my hair's a little messed up here, folks. Bear with me. A record-breaking 133 million ICP, folks, constituting of 26.2% of the total supply, is locked for an 8-year duration. So what does this mean? Well, we've got about 370 million tokens in circulation. There could even be a lot more. I think it's actually closer to around half the amount of circulating tokens are locked up. But 133 million are locked up for 8 years. So as more and more of these tokens keep getting locked up, I mean, we're going to see some less tokens be released into the supply chains. So, when we start looking at this, and let's just say like, I don't know, we'll just go 370 million token supply, even though it's probably a lot less. A $50 billion valuation or market cap would basically put the ICP token at about $137. That's kind of where I have my sight set for this next bull market, is right around that 137 to like $175 mark. Not financial or trading advice. Those are just the levels I'm looking to hopefully see ICP kind of hit, folks. And we got ICP in top 10 tokens by new lines of code, folks. ICP is consistently on this chart. It's also one of the top 4 on the most like commits, GitHub commits, like all the time. So this is great to see that ICP is still among the top tokens that coin commit follows, and it has been for a very long time, folks. Follow me on Twitter at real6fig, because I'm dropping little drops of alpha, like my 30-day profit and loss is 89.09%. That's actually at about 94%, because like 2 hours after this trade, or after this post, I made another trade and got that up to 94%. So that is great, you know, and I try to share as much information with people as I can out there. Really, when it comes down to it, folks, we can see that ICP, folks, you know, it's up 40% on the month, up 14% on the year. We're sitting at just under a $2 billion market cap. What I'm looking at right here with this price action was there was one heck of a run to the upside. I mean, we've been in just green candles since like October 21st, somewhere in there. And, you know, with every giveth, there needs to be some taketh. And what we're seeing right here could be a beautiful start to some Elliott wave theory to the upside. So I think that we need to look at this on the weekly chart, because there's something that I really want to show you guys. And that's the fact that ICP is finally nipping at this 50 moving average again. We haven't seen it do this since April of 2023. So almost 8 months, 7 months. This is great. What I would like to see ICP do is break through this barrier and move up through this thin part of this Ichimoku cloud. And I've been talking about this section for months and months. But what do I think is going to happen in the meantime? Well, I'm keeping my eyes on a potential harmonic pattern, folks. And this is kind of one of these things where this natural fluctuation in the market can help us predict possible, and I say possible, price moves. So right here, I measure point X up to A, and I'll draw up this diagram here so you can understand what's going on here. And what I'm looking for is a move. I'm going to try to find an area down here. And what I'm looking for is that this price pierces through the 61.8 but doesn't go lower than the 786. So here we have that confirmation. And then up here at this A point, or the C point, I just make sure that it hasn't gone farther than this A point. And then also, bear with me 1 second, we've got to make sure that it at least breaches the 61.8. So this is harmonic trading, folks. So it did in fact breach the 61.8. I mean, I know that. I'm just showing this for your guys' sake. So here it's telling me that, you know, we might have an actual harmonic pattern breaking out or something like that. Now, this isn't guaranteed, but, you know, a lot of times when you start to see setups like this occur, you know, becomes a very possible thing. So now I'm going to measure a retracement basically from A to B. And then what I'm looking for is like this 127, 161.8. And you're probably saying, well, how dare you tell me that ICP is going to go down to $3.87. You know, it could. And that's kind of why I'm sitting a little bit idle right now. My bags are packed on ICP, just to, you know, as a disclaimer. But, you know, when we talk about this, I mean, you could easily see how, you know, this 50 or this 200 moving average, you know, might actually suppress on some downward pressure and really curve maybe like this along this 127. And right here, this is about as far away as I'd want to see price action from this Ichimoku cloud. And I just want to say that it is possible and within the realm of the distance So I mean, you could even argue that, the distance from here down to the 161.8 is equal to this little span here. So I'm kind of watching to see if this hits the 387 or the 127 at the $3.87 mark level for right now before I take any long or short positions. Let's just look at the 1 hour chart. You know, Man, it is what it is. We are seeing such a nice symmetrical triangle squeeze, and I'll just go ahead here and illustrate this. But you can see a nice symmetrical triangle squeeze, and then it just broke down. So we might be gearing up to come back up and test the lower side of the symmetrical triangle before making that move down to $3.80, something like that. Now, this is very speculative, folks, and I just want you guys to understand that this is not financial or trading advice, but that's just kind of what I'm looking at right now in the markets with ICP. So you can't go up forever. Like I said, you got to give to do a little taking. And check out this video, folks, on what Sam Bankman and FTX did to really vaunt the ICP token launch. We'll see you guys all in the next video.